Hey everyone, it's Exoman, and today I am delivering, as promised, the second part of the generator install. This is the backup generator. It's kind of a whole house generator. What I brought in was a dual fuel propane and gasoline generator. It's a 10,000 watt. Anyway, the first video, you can check the link below to that video. I got the generator in, unboxed it, set it up, put the wheels on it, did the assembly and all those kinds of things, and went through the basics of that generator and getting it hooked up to propane. Now, in this next part, this next video, which you're watching now, I'm going to just basically show you how we went about wiring the generator and feeding this panel here. And as I said in the first video, I highly recommend hiring a licensed electrician to do this. This is very dangerous, and it can kill you, and it can kill other people. So hire a licensed electrician. I'm just going through some of the things that we did. Now, what is very important here is this little guy. Okay, this is an interlock, and I said that I would talk about this. Now, this little device is excruciatingly expensive. It should not be as expensive as it is, but there's not that many people making them. They're basically just a couple of pieces of aluminum and a few screws. But what they do is critical. It's very important. What they do is they block you from, this is a foolproof device. It blocks you from turning your generator breaker to the on position while your main is switched on. Okay, so in other words, I'm going to show you how to do it, but you have to switch your main power off, feeding your panel, and then you can slide this up to get it out of the way of this circuit breaker, and this will be your generator breaker, and you can then turn it on. Okay, so I asked my electrician, I guess there was a little bit of miscommunication. I had asked him to put this breaker, which is my generator, up top. For this design, that's where I need it. Okay, now when you buy one of these, you have to pay attention to the manufacturer of your panel. This is an Eaton Cutler hammer. So this is the matching interlock that works with this panel. All right, so we're going to be going through that, and I'll show you basically how we wired it. I had my electrician go through the crawl space, and I helped above here pulling the wire. I'm going to show you all that. But let's take a look at the packaging and the pieces and parts that I got with this interlock. Now let me just explain this a little further so that it's very clear. Most people who've done these kind of things will understand that after, say, a hurricane or a natural disaster and you have a power outage, you want to turn your main off because you don't have power anyway. So you want your main off to be safe, because you don't want power to be restored and you've got your generator feeding your panel and then you've got a surge going to your generator. That's just not safe. You're going to damage your generator. You don't want that. And you also, you don't want to have when your power is back on, you want to then turn your generator breaker off and then move this down and turn your breaker off, move the lock down so that your generator breaker is locked in the off position, and only then can you turn your main power on. Okay, makes a lot of sense for safety reasons. You don't want to as I said in the first video, the link to which is down below, by the way. Check that out if you want to check out the first video. What I said in the first video is you don't want to accidentally backfeed, have this on while the power is down. There's a power outage. If you have this on and you have your generator running, you can backfeed the grid in your neighborhood and send current down the line and kill the lineman. You definitely want to be careful about that. You don't want to hurt somebody. You don't want to kill anybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this up here to this position here, and first let's take a look at these parts. Oh, hello.
Hi.
All right, so what we got here, I bought this, I'm embarrassed to say how much I paid for it, so I won't.
It's not that much.
It's a lot. They're expensive.
It's not $100.
Okay, it's a little under $100. There you go. So what did we get for all this money? We got, like I said, a couple of pieces of metal. I mean, good for them. I like to make money. Everybody likes to make money.
Very important.
Got some instructions. You got a drill to drill the 3 holes, and that's really cool that they put some Loctite or whatever you want to call that in here, because you want to tighten up these screws because you want this to be a firm slide. All right. You got caution labels, and you've also got these zip ties because you're supposed to zip tie the adjacent breaker to the generator breaker. We'll go over that. Okay, and yeah, that's very cool that they put a drill bit in there. Now let's go back in time a few days and I'll show you the wiring, how we wired the generator to the electrical panel. All right, so now I want to get the wire up into my panel. And we're going to put a double pole breaker to energize the panel. And my electrician is down in the crawl space right now under here, and the generator sits downstairs kind of below here. So what we're going to do is try to get that line, the cord that he has with him in the crawl space right now, using this. We've just taken a line off of one of these breakers, and the reason we've done that is so that he can pull this down. I can feed him this fish tape, and then he can attach our new line to this fish tape, if that makes sense. We're just using one of the lines out of here, a random line for an outlet downstairs to facilitate this, and then he can send up the new supply line, and then we'll be good. We'll have a wire running to our panel, and then we can run it to an outlet that I can plug the generator into downstairs. Now, the reason we used that wire to draw the fish tape was simply because the fish tape alone is not strong enough to make the journey in this tight space. Imagine a world without power. Imagine living without it.
Oh no. I don't like to do
like
that.
150, 200 years ago.
Oh, that was not fun for those people.
Yeah.
But they didn't know any better, but still. Now, if the power goes out, every time I walk in a room, I'm flipping the switch. I want the light. Wait.
Even though you know the power is not.
Yeah, I know it's not going to come on, but I'll do it anyway like 50 times. And no AC in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In the South. People who don't live in the South don't understand how oppressive that is.
We have to have power for Wi-Fi. I mean, if you want to watch a show, you gotta have power.
Oh, how spoiled we are.
We are spoiled.
You.
And I do.
By
like
we, I mean you.
I like to read, so I'm good with that. But during the day, when I can see, unless I've got a light on, and I don't mind going out into nature. In fact, I love going out into nature. But at the end of the day, I want to come home and turn my lights on.
Yeah. All right. I'm working on it. We'll get it set up.
I am so happy. Thank you so much.
Anything for
and
you.
I will help any way I can.
Get your gloves and your wire cutters.
Yeah.
Let's go to work.
I'm ready for it.
Hey, Farm Girl, I think you and Exoman should make a video about what kind of coffee you like. Seriously, what kind of coffee do you guys drink to come up with those videos?
So Ruby, what we're doing today is we're wiring the generator, which is right here. Now what we got is a 10-3 wire, and we're going to wire this outlet. See? This outlet.
Oh.
That is going to go right here, and we're gonna have our plug in for our generator. So our plug is gonna come out of this 30 amp outlet. Basically, we'll have two 110s two of these will be 110, and that will create, that'll give us 240 volts. And into here. Does that make sense? That makes sense?
Yay, campy! Yay!
Mitch, the electrician, is up in the crawl space right now. We got our conduit over here, and we got that nice big beefy wire running right up into the circuit panel in the washroom.
Wow.
Okay. There's my electrician. You can barely see him in there. He's crawling out of the... That's a tight space, isn't it, Mitch?
Oh yeah.
This is one of my Mitches. All the guys that work for me are named Mitch.
I'm the best.
So he was up in there working, and he had to crawl all the way from over here. Did you know that electricians legally have to have first aid kits? And Mitch has one for me because I've injured myself. I've gravely injured myself. That was pulling the...
Give him CPR.
Yeah, I needed CPR, but you were in the crawl space and I was upstairs.
To the dog out.
Alright, so now Mitch is installing the input. Which is this. Which we saw already. So we have 10-3 is what he's using. Two of those.
Two
will go
hots, neutral.
right into the...
And your ground, go to the ground.
Okay.
Then this is your switch. It has W is for neutral, Y hot, X hot, and of course G is for ground. And ground always goes back to your box.
So I busted my finger pulling this cord up through here, and it gave way, and my finger slammed into that breaker right there. And that's
Good thing you didn't hit that.
yeah. Good thing I didn't fry and injure my hand, right? So what Mitch is going to do is he's going to move all these breakers on the right side down, so he can put in the double pole 60 you got?
Double pole 50.
50. Okay.
So you'll know, just in case.
So we're getting ready to test it. Your hair is funny looking.
Yeah?
So first thing you want to do is turn your main off. And come here, turn everything off.
Everything is off. All right, so we're ready to test it out. We're not going to really use this until we get the interlock. So he's got us wired up, and he's got this is a test cord. I'm getting a longer cord. So, all right, so what do we
Make sure
do?
your breaker's off and start your generator.
Make sure it's off. Okay. So that's off. Now we'll turn the gas on, turn the battery on, and we'll fire it up. Ruby, you made a mess.
Alright, in the bottom left corner you'll see the 50 amp, which will be moved once you get the lock in. You want to put this on. And let's test the kitchen. Let's turn the refrigerator on. Refrigerator should be on.
Yep.
All right, so we hear
You got something on that furnace.
we hear the generator running downstairs, and now I've got my furnace, my AC on,
And I wouldn't
my range is working,
Jen,
my refrigerator's on.
when you're on that generator, try to stay within 2 burners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and not turn on the range and AC at the same
If you
time.
want to run if you want to run the AC, you can't run the stove, vice versa. And try to stay
So
within
what
2
will it
burners.
do? Just burn the...
It's just gonna overwork your.
It might throw the breaker on the unit,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Okay, so the bottom line is on that generator we have lights, receptacles, AC, sump pump, refrigerator.
Essentials.
Yeah, the real necessities. I love it. All right. Thanks, Mitch. All right. Okay, so that concludes the test. Now we'll get a longer cord, and we'll get our interlock, and we'll be in business. All right, check it out. We've got a nice long cord now, so we can plug the generator in and put it in any position we want. Now, somebody pointed out that you can't run your generator next to a wall. It's common sense for most people, but you got to. Some people wouldn't think about that. It's like a barbecue. You got the heat coming out of the exhaust. It's going to melt and discolor your vinyl. Could start a fire very easily. So make sure that you keep your generator away. It says, as I showed earlier, it says on here 5-foot clearance. So look at this. My neighbor has provided me with the bottom of his doghouse as a cover for my generator. How cool is that? I'll probably put it in storage anyway, but that's really neat that fits on there and protects it. Let's go check out the interlock. All right, so we've got the power hooked up. We've shown you that. We've got the propane hooked up. Everything's ready to go. And now what we want to do is go ahead and install this interlock. So what we want to end up with is this configuration here, right? Mm-hmm. And the first thing we're going to do, as per the instructions, is take this thing apart. Put 3 screws out. Because what we're going to do is position this plate as a template on the panel, like so. And I'll show you. Okay, so we're going to pay attention to how this comes off of here. All right, so we want it upright like that. So that's how it goes, correct? Mm-hmm. Now you follow me in here. What you want to do is, when you buy these, as I said earlier, you want to check the brand of your panel and just make sure you get something that matches. What you're going to be measuring is from here. They say measure from one breaker, the top of this breaker to the bottom of this breaker. Well, the bottom of this breaker is up here, but you really, what they mean is right here. Okay? So now, you want to sit this here. What we want to do is set that directly over that breaker, and it'll lodge between the top of this and the bottom of this. And then we want to make our marks. See, this is our template. And don't screw this up, okay? All right, so now we know where to drill our holes for this plate. All right, now I'm going to take this panel off, but please remember what I said. Behind this, danger, peligro. Don't screw around with this. Hire an electrician to do this. It even says on a lot of these panels that you should have a licensed electrician only doing this. I'm not saying to do this yourself. I'm just showing you how it is done, is all. So I'm going to take this panel off and I'm going to drill out the holes. You want to be very careful not to touch anything as you do this. Don't do this. All right, now I've got this over the trash can so that my wife doesn't fuss with me. And I'm going to drill out these holes carefully. You know what you can do is start it with you can pound this with a nail to start it so you don't your bit doesn't slip all over the place. Just kind of create a pilot hole so you don't do what I'm doing. Now, you want to knock off any burrs. Just file them off, sand them off. Just get them off of there. You can probably rub them off with a flathead screwdriver. on both sides. All right, now that I've got this drilled out, I'm going to position this over here and come up from underneath with my screws. Okay, cut. Hi.
Hi.
All right. So we're in business. There we go. We have that in position, and now we cannot turn the generator breaker on, you see, until we move the main switch to the off position and lift this up. Only then can we switch the generator on. So remember, without the interlock, this is the weakest link. This is the most dangerous part, because your circuit for your generator can inadvertently be switched into the on position, and you're feeding this with your main, with your power to your house. With the interlock, for your main to be on, again, your generator switch has to be off. So this then is completely safe. All right, so there's no power being fed to this. And if the generator is plugged in, turned on, and plugged into this, that's what's feeding this line. Once you unplug this, again, this is safe. It's a no-brainer. Instructions. And that, my friends, is how to keep your family safe, cool, and comfortable in a hurricane or other natural disaster. You're very
Awesome.
welcome. You are so welcome. And thank you for watching, everyone.